Let's talk about how your Roth IRA could potentially turn into millions of dollars over time. And you can download the spreadsheets I'm about to show you for absolutely free by visiting firespreadsheet.com/resources. The contribution limit for the Roth IRA goes up about $500 every 3 to 4 years. And it's really unfortunate that the contribution limit is only $6,500 compared to the 401k at $22,500. So I'm going to show you this. Let's say you're 30 years old with nothing invested in your Roth IRA so far in the year 2023. And I'm going to increase the maximum. Contribution limit by $500 every 3 years. Okay. So you see here, that's the personal contribution. This is the age, and this is the current, the year, and this is the beginning balance. So I just put 0 as the beginning balance. And this is the annualized return with the 8%. And I'm just going to put 8% in there. I don't know why I get flax on this, and I get a lot of comments in my videos that 8% is too much, but I'm like, the S&P 500 has performed like 12% in the last 10 years. All right, so I'll just keep it at 8%, but then, people get mad about it regardless. But anyway, so I just put 8%, right? So it's hard to judge that it's going to perform 8% in the next 5 years. I usually just do it by 10 years, okay? It's easier to just do the calculation based on like every 10 years or 20 years. It makes more sense. And here's the interest that accrues, and here's the total balance with interest, all right? So when you download the spreadsheet by going to firespreadsheet.com/resources, and it'll say retirement calculator. I can't remember the file name, but you're going to be able to see it. And you can just download this and play around with the numbers, put your own age in there this year, and then put however much money you have in the beginning balance and just play with the numbers. Personal contribution limit, I increased it by $500 every 3 years, okay? And with an 8% average annual return. So you're looking at, by age 60, that's $1.07 million by the time you're 60 years old. That's $40,000 a year in tax-free income with a 4% withdrawal rate. And by age 67, if you don't touch any of it, you would have almost $2 million. And your money essentially doubles every 7 years with an 8% average annual return. And if you have let's do 10%, all right? I know people are going to be like 10% is too much, but I'm just going to play with it anyway. 10%, okay? 10% will give you $1.56 million. But can't worry, we can't worry about the stock market return because that's not something that we can completely or entirely control, right? So let's take a look at age 25. Just by starting your Roth IRA 5 years earlier, you're looking at over just $1.6 million by the time you're 60 with a $500 increase every 3 years. And I also added that $1,000, where is it? Right here. Oh, no, it's right here. $1,000 catch-up contribution when you turn 50 years old. You see how every year matters. If you miss one contribution in the early years, your portfolio could drop even more because you lose out on the compound interest. So let's say you're investing at 40 years old. You're still looking at over $400,000 in your Roth IRA when you're 60 because the maximum contribution is low. You're going to need other retirement vehicles like the 401k and HSA to save enough for retirement. You should not just rely on the Roth IRA to retire from the workforce, right? You can choose to keep working until you're 65 that would give you $700,000 or age 70 at $1.1 million. And some people might say that they don't want to work that long, and that's fine. The Roth IRA rules state that you have to have an earned income to contribute to the Roth IRA. So let's say you stop working at age 62, but you have other income sources to cover your expenses. Your Roth IRA investments will continue to grow every year, okay? Higher the balance, more interest and earnings you're going to earn, right? So if when I deleted these amounts starting at age 63, because you're retired at age 62, your Roth IRA will still grow annually with the bull market and reach $1 million at age 71. And 8% is on the conservative side, okay? So what if you got 10% in return every year? Yeah, that's a difference of $160,000 by the time you turn 62 years old. So keep in mind that everything I just showed you are all individual contributions. And if you and your spouse are filing your taxes jointly, you can each open a Roth IRA and contribute up to $13,000 total, or $15,000 if you're both 50 or older. And one of you can even be a stay at home spouse or stay at home parent and open what's called a spousal Roth IRA. Now, a lot of stay at home parents or stay at home spouses are really missing that out, that extra $6,500 every year. And you just need to have a joint gross income of at least $13,000 a year to contribute to both Roth IRAs, or $15,000 if you're both 50 years old. You need to you do need to keep the accounts separate because of the rules. But for this calculation I'm going to show you, I'm going to combine both contributions. Okay, so if you're married, let's say you and your spouse are both 35 years old with nothing invested in the Roth IRA starting in 2023. Okay, I'm going to enlarge it. Your numbers are now double from what I showed you earlier, and you'll both have almost $1.4 million by the time you're 60 years old. And by age 67, you'll have $2.5 million. And this is all if you get an 8% annualized return. We started investing in the Roth IRA around 2015 or 2016. And my wife didn't start until 2021. We have a beginning balance this year at $98,000, okay, combined in our Roth IRAs as of January 2023. I forgot to change that, okay? So we're going to make at least a 10% annualized return because we don't just invest in index funds, but we also have some individual stocks that have been performing really well over the years. So by the time we're 60 years old, we're going to have $1.8 million combined in our Roth IRAs. And that's about $72,000 a year in tax-free income. How awesome is that, right? And check this out. And what I'm doing, Roth IRA conversion ladder from my traditional 401k or TSP. If my math is right, I'm projected to have about $500,000 in the traditional portion of my TSP or 401k because I max out my 401k every single year. And I can make the $75,000 conversion for 10 years after I retire early at age 45. We should have over $4 million or almost $4 million by the time we're 60 years old, or look at this, $7 million or $7.7 million by the time we're 67 years old if we don't make any withdrawals. And stay tuned because I'm going to talk about the early withdrawal strategy later on in this live stream. And I know you're like, man, this is a lot of money. There's no way I'm going to get to 7.7 or 4 million. This is, yes, you can. You can absolutely do it because I had the same mentality back in 2014, 2015, and I was in $110,000 in debt. And when I went debt free, 2016, I just went ham on investing. I'm like, you know what? I am done paying off my debt. I am debt free with the exception of my mortgage. I'm going to start investing. When I started maximizing my retirement in 2017, my net worth, it just went up exponentially because I was still cheap. You know, I'm still cheap. And I just maximized my contributions every single year. And now it's like hard to imagine where I am now because of the choice that I made back in 2016 or 2015 to pay off all of my debt and just maximize my contributions in my retirement. And it's not just a retirement. It's not just 401k, IRA, and HSA that I maximize. I contribute as much as I can to my taxable investment account because I know that's going to be for my early retirement. I'm going to be paid dividends in the future, and that's going to be one of my early retirement income streams. Okay. And I've talked about that in the previous live streams, but I will talk about it again in the future because it is so important that you need to be able to increase that savings rate to get to where it is now. So every year matters, okay? And don't forget that not only you're able to contribute to the Roth IRA every year, but you can also do the Roth to Roth rollover and traditional to Roth conversions, like I showed you. You have to treat your Roth IRA like your core retirement account because that Roth IRA goes everywhere you go. Unlike the 401k, as soon as you leave your job, you can't contribute to the 401k anymore. You have to, if you switch jobs, you're going to get a new 401k, but you'll have the option to roll it over to your Roth IRA and choose your own investments. But be careful with the conversions because you're going to owe income taxes in the same year you make the conversion. And so when I make a $75,000 annual conversion from my traditional 401k or TSP to my Roth IRA, I'm going to be retired from the workforce when I make those conversions at age 45. So my taxable income won't be as high as how my income is now. Can you imagine having 50, 75, or $100,000 a year in tax-free income? I definitely can. I know you can do it too. You just need to contribute as much as you can to your 401k right now. But because the Roth IRA contribution limit is a lot lower than the 401k, you have to remember that every single year matters. Missing out on your Roth IRA for just $6,500 this year, that's $65,000 in 30 years that you're going to miss out on. In 20 years, that's $30,000. In 10 years, that's $11,000 with an 8% average annual return. Imagine if you had 10%, 12%, or 15%. Who knows, right? When you're in your 20s and 30s, you still have time on your side, but you need to max out your Roth IRA contributions every single year to get to that $1 million mark a lot faster. And if you're in your 40s or 50s, don't be discouraged because having something is better than having nothing at all. And having $400,000 in the Roth IRA is significantly a lot. It still is a lot. If your pension income is $40,000 a year, having that extra $15,000 or $20,000 in tax-free income from your Roth IRA could make a big difference to where you want to retire to or how much you travel every year. This is supposed to be your long-term strategy. And so you need to look at the Roth IRA as your long-term insurance plan when you can no longer physically work.